What's going on, family? I'm excited to invite you to another episode of Conversations with the Politician. We have had some crazy dialogue so far. Let's check it out together.
Literally, if all you're doing is waiting on me to give you the microphone and say, go ahead and go for it, and that's your most proudest moment, instead of actually having a bag and you able to make some moves for your community, I'm sorry. I'm judging if this is a preacher or a preacher at all. Sorry. Forgive me, bro. I'm sorry. Don't come for my brother on the live, y'all. I'm here.
I love it.
Because it's so many that's hitting that have a double life. That's what we living at. That's what's going on. That's not everybody, but that's what our single women are dealing with. But that doesn't mean single women, you start loving on another woman.
Woo! Hey, yo. Hey.
Yes! Because a woman cannot do what a man can.
He can't. He can't.
Now you said
Come on with it, Pastor. Come on.
Did I take you out, Elisha?
Listen, I don't know. I don't think it's the content that's bothering me. It's just how chill you are. While you a little too chill for me. Like,
Why she snatched our edges?
Because if I hit the right chord just for you, baby, you're gonna look right my way. Okay. See,
I just wanted to be noted the fact that you really carried on for an hour and 34 minutes behind an organ is hilarious.
We have a form of the presence of God. We have a form of, oh my God, the glory. We have a form of it. But my God, when the real comes in,
God,
you don't know it because you only know the form. You know it has to be a role. They have to do this certain run. The choir have to look this type of way. They have to scream this type of way. It's
go back into those toxic cycles and not go back into that negative situation, to not isolate and withdraw from other people, then I'm going to stay stuck in the same cycle. And I think that's what makes therapy so beautiful, because we're teaching, practical tools and principles and strategies on how to maintain your deliverance so that, your deliverance goes beyond the altar.
Get stirred up, pulled out by shot. Listen, because this is such a passion of mine to really, really cultivate worship leaders in this time. You gotta be processed. You have to be ready to lead people. And I'll say this right here, to lead people into the presence of God. But you can't, if you ain't never been there, you can't lead nobody.
That's it.
And it takes a life that is totally surrendered to God. Worship is a complete surrendered lifestyle posture. Every moment of my life, I am intentional about making sure that my heart is postured before God, in my attitude, in my actions, in how I treat my husband, and how I govern my children, and how I treat the people in the store. Is God glorified by my thoughts? Is God glorified by what's going on in my heart? You know what I'm saying? I gotta give it to y'all because I'm getting stirred up.
We can't just throw them to the side, because next year when we get back in church, we're going to still need them same people to help us preach. Oh, I can't pick them.
God, you just dropped so much wisdom right there.
You know what I'm saying? I think this is the time that God is really forcing the gathering to divorce perspective and marriage structure and order. We can no longer be married to the dysfunctional tradition that never worked anyway. It was only all we knew. Now that God has thrown us out of the building, this really gives God the chance to put his fingerprint back on what church is, how it's supposed to go, what it's supposed to sound like.
We live in a millennial generation. You can smoke weed and still be saved. Hallelujah. You can go to the club and still get up and preach on Sunday morning. So it's hard for me to grasp that word when I've seen your life on social media. And I think at times we can sabotage our own brand because we're telling people that Jesus delivers, but we still doing the same stuff that we're trying to deliver other people out of.
Listen, we're about to embark on another journey tonight. While we're here, please share. Let's get this on all the timelines. And let's talk together. Y'all talk to us in the
Family, listen, I don't know what happened, but it truly doesn't matter. You already know the rules. Share this, like this, comment, whatever. Do it all. We need it all. Push us tonight. This is going to be really good. Once again, welcome to this. Welcome to tonight. One of our panelists had to switch out, and here he is. Welcome to tonight. I think this is going to be amazing. We've got some Kingdom creators with us tonight. This is once again conversations with the politician. And so we're going to go around the world. I'm going to allow each one of them to introduce themselves and just tell us about them and about what they do and what they've been able to create. Latricia, we're going to start with you, cuz.
All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Latricia London. I build brands for people across the United States of America. Have reached people in 40 out of the 50 states. I think it's 50, 51. I don't know. But I reached 40, 40 states so far. And I have also been able to reach 2 countries, Haiti as well as London. So I'm super excited about that. I'm not only a brand designer, I also am a professional photographer here in Chicago, Illinois, where I really focus on personal branding and things of that nature. Um, Amongst those things, I am also a ministry. So I'm a ministry leader and I am a minister of the gospel of Jesus. Amen. Amen.
All right, we are Marcus and Brittany Murray, and we are pretty much the co-founders of Mark Brick Creative Studio. We started this about 2 years ago and kind of just stumbled upon it. And pretty much we are self-taught designers, so we didn't really go through any type of schooling or training. We pretty much taught ourselves how to do everything and kind of just fell onto this and kind of have evolved into it and starting the business and falling in love with it and pretty much reaching our clients, whether it's through graphics or through banners, whatever they need, we pretty much provide to them. And so our goal is to pretty much continue to expand in branding, not only for ministry leaders or entrepreneurial leaders, but also just in the secular community as well in that aspect too. And so we're just really looking forward to kind of like building that. And so that's we are also based in Columbus, Ohio too. So yeah.
Mother Cox?
I'm sorry. I thought it was the Keenan next. I'm looking at him like, come on, let's go. I am Michelle Cox. I am based in Louisville, Kentucky. I did go to school for graphic design 4 years. I started out at Louisville State University and went to U of L. I finished at U of L. Even after I got my degree in graphic design, I worked at McDonald's for like 5 or 6 years. Then I got married. My husband told me to quit and to start my own business. And here we are now. I am independently owned and operated. I do things, graphic design, actually anything you can print or see on a computer is what I do. I started out with mostly church graphics, but I did migrate to other secular things as well, such as real estate and otherwise. So I look forward to just sharing and networking with everyone here tonight.
There we go. All right. I am Tavell Grant. Thankful for this opportunity. I actually stumbled upon graphic design back maybe a good 5 years ago. I noticed a need in my church. And I noticed that we were really lacking as it pertained to graphics, social media, having flyers that were up to date, weren't from Word or Publish or anything of that nature, but actually had a look to it. And I had a friend of mine who was actually going to school for it, and he taught me some things, and I kind of just ran with it from there. And then the Lord was like, you need to go ahead and get out of doing it as a hustle and make it a business. And so I've been doing it now for some time. Majority of my clients are in the church or pastors or evangelists of that nature. God has blessed me to now do some work for politicians, those who are political figures. And so I'm just thankful I'm able to do flyers, business cards, web design, web management, social media management, brand and marketing consultation, you name it, I'm doing it.
Good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me? Make sure this computer not malfunction. Yes, my name is Keenan Peebles. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. Uh, I'm a church kid. I've been in church all my life. I've been preaching since I was 6. And like Elder Grant, I was in church, saw a need, and my first flyer making software was PixArt. And if anybody has has any experience, I was making flyers on my phone and trying to make lens flares and all that different stuff. When I went to college, I, of course, I didn't have a lot of money, and so I bought Adobe for the first time. And this was about 3 years ago, and was able to just start to teach myself on how to design graphics. And what started off as just a hobby I did, periodically throughout school for just a few people and for the church, blew up to, something I never could have thought of. And so now I'm able to do graphics for people all over the country. I've done graphics for Church of God in Christ International. Been able to work closely with the presiding bishop's office and work with, thanks to my bishop, Bishop Hankerson, been able to work with different departments of evangelism. I'm able to work not just in the church. I've been able to work with all types of pastors, but also in the community. Like Elder Graham was able to work with some local politicians, and recently just a lot of small businesses. There was a small group of small businesses in our area, and they all just started coming to me. And so I appreciate the diversity that I've experienced, but it just simply started off as a hobby. So I'm not a university trained graphic designer, but, I'm self-taught, and I'm able to grow my business to be able to support me financially.
Man, I think all around we've been able to assemble quite the cast tonight. A lot of you a few of you are people that I put out a post some time ago. I was like, I want to talk to some creatives. Y'all tell me who y'all like. And so some of you came from that post, and some people were able to refer you. Others I've been following for a while, either near or close. And so I do want to say I'm excited about tonight. I'm excited that you all agreed to come on tonight, and I'm ready to jump into this. I think in this creator space, I think there's one thing that is synonymous, is we all feel the need to figure it out on our own. I think there's a place where everybody else can go and get information, resource. It doesn't matter what you want to be. If you want to be Bob the Builder, there is somewhere for you to go and to hear from other Bob the Builders and receive some kind of information in order to be a Bob the Builder. As far as creatives, I think every one of our testimonies, outside of those that go to school for it, is I had to go to YouTube. I had to figure such and such and such and such out. And so one of my initiatives right now is building an online community of creatives, new and old, that can pour into each other and grow together. Because at the end of the day, what we do is not necessarily for us while we benefit. It's always for somebody else. And so that the people that are most influenced by our work can grow, I just want to make sure that we're able to come into a space where we can grow together. And tonight, this is that space, and I'm excited about that. Well, we're about to hop right into it. The first thing I want to talk about is for that new creator, right? I think I want to do graphic design. I think I want to do media. I think I want to help out at the church. I want to start my own business. What does beginning this process look like? What can I do to start off? What can I do to get going?
Well, I guess I'll give my 2 cents on that, since
yes, sir.
For me it was rejection. And I say that because a lot of times, a lot of people want to get a certain look and they never really know what it is. And then when you get the person that can do it, then you have the ability to say, I want that. But then it just doesn't fit the narrative of what you want. And so what ended up happening for me to start was I had to get rejected by something that did not warrant or make me want to go into a place where I really wanted my outpour of experience to be out there. And so a lot of times when we started, we had a lot of folk that liked what we did, but did not like, it didn't tweak to what they wanted because they were so wanting what they saw from the next person. But I was the closest thing to get to them fast enough to get it. And so what I tell people now is if you have an ability to be able to just sit and really create a craft that will make you feel like you're ready for what it is that's coming, then you have to be able to accept that some people just not going to like what you do. But those that do like it will begin to really gravitate to you. So when I remember when we started a couple years ago, people liked what we saw, but we didn't like what we saw. And so what we began to do is say, if we don't love it, then we're not going to put it out there. And so we had to keep building on that and really saying, we're going to keep practicing. And then we would do stuff. We would just give stuff away just so we could get people to see, do you like this or do you not? And some did and some didn't. We remember one time we gave something away to somebody and they came back and they wanted all these changes. And I said, well, we gave it to you for free. But then what I start realizing is there was more to it than what we were putting out. So we had to go skill it and build it more so that we could build it the proper way. And so we were getting rejected, but in reality now we're here where we're at now. So I guess it takes time to really build something properly by going through the process of rejection in some areas where you may not be as strong. I think everyone on here right now has a strong point at some point, somewhere in there, graphic wise, there's a strong point that we all don't have. And I think that's where you have to really understand that you're not just communicating with that person, but you're communicating with yourself as well. Go ahead. I talked too much.
Yeah.
Well, I'll interject here. When I first started, I looked at a lot of inspiration from other people. And so I think what I would say to the beginner is let inspiration be inspiration. Like, don't try to be like that other person. Don't try to design like them. Your style may not be their style. I would say because for a while, it took me a long time to get comfortable with my style and how I wanted to design, because I was forever looking at other people's stuff and saying, I want to be like that. I want to do this. I want to do that. So even though I went to school for it, the classes that I took for graphic design, it wasn't even, I was in Flash. Do you remember Flash? I was in Flash. I don't use any of that now. I use stuff like the art theory classes, the Gestalt theory and the shapes and all of that stuff. So that's what I would say to the beginner, let inspiration be what it is. Inspiration. Don't try to mimic or copy anybody, and just learn to be comfortable with yourself.
I would also add, find the intent of why you want to do this. Find your why. If you don't find your why, you'll waste a lot of time and you'll waste a lot of energy. Most people don't have businesses. They just have hobbies and things they do for recreation. I'm not doing this because I love my job, but I'm not doing this solely just for recreational purposes. There's things I have planned, goals that I have, that is, it's a business. I sell a good, and then you in return give me also finances. And so if you don't have that intent, don't put yourself out there to be a business owner and then, get upset when people start giving you the business because you in business. And so I think you have to be wise about that. If you're just going to do a hobby, just say, hey, This is a hobby I have. There's people on social media that I follow that are actually they're great graphic designers, but they'll let you know in the heartbeat. This is just something I do for fun. This is something I do in my spare time. They'll do free work. They give out free logos, and that's them. But if you're a person that this is going to be a source of income for you, you want to build this, to a place where you don't have to work your job. All you have to do is wake up and do graphics. That's going to take time. It's going to take effort. It's going to take strategy. And although you don't have to know the end from the beginning, at least have some intent to where you want to be at.
There we go. I was actually going to say the same thing as far as knowing your why, but I would even go so far to kind of try to discover what your potential is. So what do you really want to get out of this? How much of this do you want to really accomplish within it? So that you have some goals that you can set, so that you have a bar that you are trying to reach. Sometimes we just start things and we just flat out start, but we don't know where we want to go after we start. What potentially, what does 3 months down the line look like? What does a year from now look like? So when you start, I think the best thing is to kind of have a plan and put those things in place, so that now you know your why, you have your inspiration, and now you have a plan to put along with that.
And I'll add, you must know your vision. That vision and gifts. Vision and gifts. For me, I did go to college. I have my master's in business. I have my undergrad in broadcast journalism. My original intent was to be the pretty girl on the TV doing the news. But once I got into the field, I realized, no, that's not for me. These people not happy. They don't really, it's just not for me. But one of my professors told me, she just said, hey, y'all have to go on Photoshop and y'all got to create something. And I just got on that computer and I just started creating. And she said, how did you know how to make those layers? I said, I'm not sure how I knew. It was like I was gifted in it. And God had gave me a gift. And she literally started allowing me to teach the class Photoshop. And it was really crazy. You can access it to this day. And she says, Latricia, she said it in the class, one day you're going to be a millionaire building brands. I did not expect her. I said, Miss Walker, I am going to be on TV and I'm going to do the news. Honey, I ain't made it there yet. But I realized then that I was gifted. God had gave me a gift that no one could have taken from me. I remember from 9 years old, I was at the computer playing with graphics and downloading music off LimeWire and doing all the tech stuff and using up all my mom's dial-up internet. I know many of us remember that, using up all the dial-up internet. My mom's like, I got to get you a cell phone. I had to get a cell phone in 6th grade because I wouldn't stay off the computer. I was like almost like addicted to it. But eventually, once you know your gifts and your abilities, God will literally open up the door for you. He'll open up a door that you won't have room enough to receive. And literally, when you walk in your calling and in your gifts, I mean, he'll do it. I'm sorry, I get preachery sometimes. So I'm trying not to be.
To add on to that, and I don't mean to intrude, but she said something very, very powerful. I know this may not be deep, but you need to seek the Lord before you do anything. The Bible says, in all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. Everything that everybody has said can be solved if we seek the Lord. And if you're not seeking God, then it's just not going to pan out how you think it should. Many people, their motive is not right. And many people just do it for the money. We all know there are people that, will do things just for mammon. And if that's your reason, then it's just not going to pan out. We've got to seek the Lord.
You know what? I think that a lot of what we just described is like the main difference between a business and a hustle. Because, hustle has become so popular. You log on Facebook and social media. It's like, I'm getting my hustle on. I'm hustling. But a business is so much different than just having a hustle, because when you put your mind to starting your business, number one, you have to realize that your money is not coming in the way you think it's going to come in. So you can't just be somebody, this is my side hustle. Listen, I got 2 children, a house, bills to pay. So this can't just be a hustle. So I think what a lot of us just described here is the main difference between having a business and just doing it because you want to hustle.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I believe we're off to a great start. And I think we've already touched a whole lot of things. I'm going to let you guys carry it tonight. While there is much to add there, I will leave it alone. Moving on, we're talking about you guys really just segued perfectly into that next piece, which is simply how do I operate as a business? When I say I'm going to start up a business, what does that business etiquette look like? What does it look like managing my brand? Some people, you've got a picture, and this is no knock. If you want to take a picture in a bikini, that's between you, God, and Instagram. But if you cannot, I don't know what it looks like having a bikini next to a graphic design you just made. What are you selling me? I'm trying to figure out, what am I here to buy? And so that is something major. Do I make another account? What does that look like? Because we have a poor job. We do a poor job managing my life and managing my business. And we tend to bring them together, even though that's not the case. And so, the experts are on the screen. I'm just a little bro tonight. And so I want to figure out from you all, what say ye about this? What say ye?
I'll go ahead and answer that, because mostly I work with a lot of older people. I work with older pastors. I work with more Pentecostal holiness denominations. So first you have to know your audience, who you're called to. Fantasia's graphic designer may be half naked on his IG page because he works for Fantasia. She gonna send that money regardless of what he's posting. But you have to period. But you got to know who your audience is. If I'm doing graphics for the Church of God in Christ, you're not going to see nothing crazy on my page. And I think again, it goes back further, just keeping your clientele on lock, but it goes back to your motive. You want to be ethical in your business to the place where when people see your page, they automatically know what you do, what you offer, and what they're going to get from you. But you have to know your audience. You have to know who you're called to. Now, with that being said, of course, I don't just want to do churches all my whole entire life, but I do know where I'm called to. I know where my grace is. I'm a pastor. And so I know what pastors need. I know that pastors move last minute. I know that they'll call you a night before. Hey, I need a flyer. Those type of things. Now, for some people, that may not work. I know some designers say, hey, I need like 14 days in advance. And so, I'm just not one of those designers. I'll get it to you as fast as possible because I know my audience. So once you figure out your audience, you'll know what is acceptable and what is not acceptable.
I just want to, I don't know if I'm muted. I just want to add to that as far as knowing your audience, you have to also understand, and everyone pretty much knows the quote of you are your brand, right? So what you represent and who you are is pretty much, who you're targeting to. And for us, I know that when we decided that we wanted to actually scale our business, when we wanted to actually be serious about our business is when we decided to separate our business pages from our personal pages, because although our personal pages, were still of that standard because we are believers, we still wanted to scale in a way where we were reaching more outside of just the church, but also into the business world, right? And so having that separate page also allowed us to reach more people versus just having with our page as well, because not everybody will necessarily see our page and say, okay, well, I want to work with them. But with the separate page, I believe that it allowed us to also be able to kind of reach other people, different different organizations and different ministries and things of that nature, and being able to represent that brand through not only just the pages itself, but then when they meet us, they say, okay, well, these are the owners of Mark Brick Creative, and we want to work with them. And being that representation of Christ, also in, you know, the things that we post and how we deal with other people, especially with business etiquette, you know, showing them that, you know, we're here to bring your vision to life. We're here as you're carrying that baby. We're here to help you be that midwife and allow you to birth it through that creativity, and also being able to use that gift of the prophetic and being able to see how God speaks to us and being able to deliver what the person desires and what they want to actually see it manifest. And I'll just say this one thing. We recently worked with a client, and she wanted to have a product line. And so she told me her vision, and she said, this is what I want it to look like. These are the colors, and this is what I want the product to look like. And so when we delivered the flyer to her, she said, this is literally what I saw. And so we have to also, even in our business etiquette and what we do, we have to also use our gifts and tap into the God-given gift that God has given us to be able to deliver the vision. Just like we talked about the vision, we have to be able to also deliver the vision that the person comes to us with. And so that's what I was saying in regards to that.
I wanna double down there, because I don't think people understand the extent of what we do. And I'm gonna add to it and leave it alone. But I do want to double down right there, because there's many a time where a client will give you what they want, and in a moment, God is going to give me something for this client that propels them to a whole nother level. And that is necessary if you're in this field. We are the digital Josephs. Our job is to interpret dream. And the way that looks is flyer, video, media, etc. I'm gonna let her tap. Go ahead, tap in right there. I see you. You're muted. You're muted.
Me?
Yep.
No, I'm just saying that was good. Keep going.
I thought you were trying to tap in. No, that's our job. Our job in media ministry, right, is whatever the dream of that house is, and the dream of the house is the dream of the pastor. Let's not get that twisted. Whatever that dream is, we bring it to life. Before you ever see the pastor, you know who you see first? You see us. You see that design. You see that commercial, whatever it is. And so it literally has to embody who that person is and the ministry that they carry. And so while some people are like, it's just a flyer. Well, a lot of times it's not. A lot of times it really is ministry. I'm done. Go ahead.
Anything that is creative is prophetic. If it's creative, it's prophetic. And we've got to stop being so religious to where we cut the prophetic spectrum off at the church, at the door of the church, because prophetic ministry goes way beyond that. There are sometimes the Holy Ghost will drop a design in my spirit, and people can call me deep all they want to. When I get done praying in the Holy Ghost and something drops in my spirit, it's the best design I've ever made. But when you look at the ministry, there's a certain expectation that you have. When I look at this church's flyers, when I look at the organization, there's a certain ambiance I'm looking for. And if it's not there, you know something is off. It has to communicate, what the service or what the church is going to be. When I look at New Zion Temple, and I look at their Ignite services, that flyer gonna have fire somewhere, Bishop laying hands somewhere, somebody on the floor somewhere. By the time I tap into the live, the feeling and the emotion, the expectation is already there. So, we have to know if it's creative, it's prophetic. We have to be able to know that, and that's what separates us from, other type of designers that may not have an inclination. God will speak to us and give us what to do at the right time.
I want to add to that because that's important. I think understanding as creatives, we are literally catching the vision. Oftentimes, you hear that when the pastor is speaking to the members or the leaders of that church, but we have to catch the vision as well. And so it's about understanding what they want, what they're trying to get out of this. And I've gone to sleep and woke up in the morning, and God gave me something for someone else. And oftentimes I will wait before I actually start on the project, because I've had those times where I'm starting on something and it's just like nothing is coming to me. And I say, God, you know what, I'm gonna start on this tomorrow. and I wake up in the morning, bam, God gives me the vision for it. And I think that does take us, like you all have been saying, being tapped in to what God is saying, what God is showing you, so that when he gives it to you, you can give that vision to the person. Oftentimes it may take you less than a day to do something because God gave you exactly what it was that you were supposed to do. And even in choosing clients and the people that come to you, God will even let you know that that's the person for you. Because sometimes, because it's $1, we'll just take the person, but God will let you know, no, that's not for you. And so it almost becomes like a marriage or a relationship, because you know that's the client, that's the one I'm supposed to help, that's who God has given me a vision for, to help them. And so as beginners, I think you need to understand that the purpose of what you're doing is to capture the vision and bring the vision to life, and understand those people that you're helping. You're a part of, you're almost like a visionary in a sense, because they're telling it to you, but you got to make them see it. You got to help it come where people can see it in their church, people can see it online.
This is so good, because it's been a few times that I have gotten woken up at like 3 or 4 in the morning, because God has given me how to create the project that was in my queue. I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do for this, but I'll literally like dream it, wake up at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I'm able to get it done. But I also want to add to that I live a good, clean, saved life. I'm not out here living crazy. I'm not in a club on Saturday. I'm not drinking and smoking and doing nothing. I'm living a good, clean, saved life. I'm not full of sin. I pray often. I pray while I'm designing. I sing praise and worship songs while I'm designing. I live a good, clean, saved. My social media, as for me and my social media, we will serve the Lord. Because I'm also a minister of music, so I can't have my choir members on my social media page saying, "Oh Lord, look at Sister Cox. She been in the club on Saturday." So it really does happen like that. And I've also been on the flip side to where I've gotten the vision and then put it on canvas and submitted the concept, but it got denied. And so the first thing I said in my head was, they not ready for my oil. They not ready. So, but then I don't get upset. I have to go back, and give them what they want. But then we also need to, I've been wanting to say this for a long time. The people, when we're designing for you, we're the ones that's keeping up with the trends. We're the ones that's keeping up with the latest fonts, the shapes, the colors, the patterns. We see your ministry. If you're asking for royalty, but clearly your church is like a shade of dookie green, it's not gonna, your flyer cannot happen like that. So I've been on that opposite side, to where you've created something and you know that it was good for what they were wanting to do, but it got denied. So in that instance, we have to stay encouraged. Don't let it hurt your feelings. Just go back to the drawing board and, push on.
I want to go to Mark first. I want to say it's the Dookie Green for me. It's definitely. Mark, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I want to say that you said something earlier that's very key. The Bible says that Joseph dreamed a dream. And when you think about that, he dreamed somebody else's dream. Because the concept of it is that when you have a dream, is that now he brings the dream to life in the function of what it was going to do. And so a lot of times when we create, think about it like this. The Bible says in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. He brought to life what was already in the mindset of what he wanted to do. And so I think a lot of times what people don't realize is that when we create and when we do stuff from the perspective of moving your vision into reality, we're taking now something that has been just a thought or in the cloud of what you wanted, and now bring it down into a place where we can now show you visually what your dream is going to do destination wise. And so we're taking you from a place of thought to a place of destination. And I think a lot of times people don't really understand the function of what destination is that they're going until they see somebody's work putting into the effort of putting your dream out there. And I think a lot of people are like, I want, especially right now in this year, one of the things that I've noticed in this year particularly is that a lot of people had to do something different. We talked about the hustle versus the business. And I think a lot of people got caught up with the thought of never being able to go back to work, that they got caught up in the fact of hustle, but did not realize that the time that they had away from their not secular job was time to really think about their vision and their dream, to put it down on paper for it to become a reality. And so what we have to do as creatives is to really now take somebody's color and make that color fit the narrative of which they want to do for their vision and their business. We have to take somebody's now wording and take that wording and put it in function. I remember we had a client, and recently I was doing a graphic for them, and they just gave me words. They didn't give me any other color. They said, just come up with something. And so sometimes you get those moments where you have to now become a person of vision for their vision. Remember this, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to shut up, but then there was a moment in the Bible where it talks about Elijah. It says that Lazarus come forth. Remember now, Lazarus is dead. Lazarus is asleep. He's dead. So the vision of Lazarus coming forth is impossible. So what he does now is he says, Lazarus, come forth. He had enough faith to believe that Lazarus can come out because we went in. I have to say this, and then I'm going to shut up. Some of us don't really understand the significance of us going into a place that's really dead. And when we come into a place that's dead, we're bringing something back to life that you left dead, and we're giving it more life again. And I think that's what we have to realize as creative, is that we're bringing something to life that's been laying dormant in somebody that now has to now functionally become a reality for them so that they can run with the vision, write the vision, make it plain that they that read it will run with it. We are literally writing out visions for people to really begin to run where they're going, and that they'll make the destination properly so that they don't miss their assignment in the earth. That's all I wanted to say.
It's been a good show. We want to thank you for coming on. We bless the Lord for your presence on this live tonight. We hope you have a good night and a Merry Christmas. What in the world? Okay, so the title really is Kingdom Creatives, but I hope that you guys, I think this really might pass just graphic designers. I believe this tonight is really just for Kingdom, period. Because I knew that one or two of you were preachers. I didn't know we had a panel of saved, sanctified, filled preachers, all of them, every one of them. And so this is good to see. This is really, really good. We're gonna come out of the deep a little bit, because this is the part that annoys all of us. Oh, how do you deal with the clients? Mighty wonder. Sometimes it's cool, but sometimes, hey, sometimes you be like, how about I just give them their money back? How about I just do that? Because it is better I have my peace in my mind than I have your, X amount of dollars. And so that's what I want to talk about right now. We have the concept the customer is always right. How do we feel about this? We've already started talking about the Dookie Green and things of that nature. And that thing is wearing Apostle Mark out. It's wearing me out too. What do we do? What do we do with those clients? I had someone reach out. Actually, they posted and I reached out to help them navigate through their first bad or their first kind of what are we going troublesome? What troublesome is good. If Apostle Mark is with me, I know I'm good, because he doesn't know it yet, but he's an apostle in the church of the Lord. So whatever he says goes tonight. But how do we navigate with those that bring more trouble than reward? Hold up.
I'll start.
Hold up. Here you go. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll say this: you want to always be respectful with your clients, and make it seem as if you want to gain an understanding of what they would like. Oftentimes, if I'm having troubles with performing in such a way that is to their liking, if we're continuously going back and forth, I might tell them, show me something that you are looking for, give me a design. Perhaps if that doesn't work, I will say to them, unfortunately, it was my goal to capture your vision or to complete this assignment, but I do know of someone else that I can refer you to who perhaps can complete this project in a timely manner. So that's something I will do. If they've paid towards it, perhaps a deposit, I will give that refund just out of
Elder,
kindness. Yeah.
Elder, I wanna butt in with a quick question for you right there, because I believe this is gonna be a road guide. I'm so sorry. This is gonna be a guideline for somebody that needs help. If you do take that approach and you've already accepted money, I believe you should get something on the front end. I don't care if it's full, half, partial. There should be something before I start working, and that's just me. And I would advise that for everybody. In the case of you saying I can't complete this project, we're in two different places, what do you do with the finance that you've received before you started working? Because at this point, you've already delivered product. They just don't like it. What say ye to that, Elder?
Well, I believe in contracts. So I actually very early on, because I believe in doing business right, I had a lawyer who helped me to create an appropriate contract for instances like this that talk about deliverable art and sketches that basically are only for me to use at that point if you are not going to use them. And how we move forward as far as if there is a deposit, that's mine. Now, I will be honest, oftentimes I may give it back, just depending on how the Lord leads me. But that's if the Lord leads me in that direction. But if we have a contract in place, I stick with the contract, what they signed off on, what I perhaps signed off on, so that it's still business. Now, this is ministry, but at the end of the day, I believe we should conduct it as business.
Yeah. Apostle Mark, go ahead. Go ahead. You're muted. You're muted, Doc. There it is.
One of the things is very key, and I think now we harp on this now, is that some 9 times out of 10 now, before they even get to us, they go through our website. And the reason why that is because by the time you get to me, you should have determined that this is where we're at, this is how it's going to be, and we're no longer a mom and pop shop. And I think a lot of times people come to that equation that we are just somebody that they know because we best friends or we friends, we homies. And I think now, because we put that stipulation that this is a business, we have protocols, we have things that we must do. There's ways you have to go about it before you get to even talk to us, because now what I'm starting to realize is a lot of people don't know what they want in the beginning because they've never really wrote out their self-vision. And so contracts are key. But even before the contract, there has to be a consultation where you can now communicate with us what you really want. And in that 30 minutes, we can tell you if we're going to work with you or if we're not going to work with you. Because here's the thing. I think a lot of times, Elder said this earlier, I think a lot of times we don't realize that as creators, we have a choice. There's plenty of, like, the old saints would say, there's plenty of fish in the sea. There's not going to be, if you don't like what I do, listen, I can refer you to somebody else. But I'm realizing now, especially in this season, a lot of people have to be given a straight, this is what it is from jump. Because if you don't give them that, then, they'll come up and they'll have 30 different 30 different changes they want to make before they get to the final thing. But then now if you put stipulations, like in certain things we say, you get three changes before the final work. And in some instances, it's 2 because we understand the client. If we do, like I think Elder said it earlier, we do 24-hour turnaround, then we're going to expect this from you. It's certain stipulation that you have to have in place so that when you are ready to move forward, before you come to me, make sure you know who you're dealing with. Because a lot of people now don't think that we're business savvy or we don't understand business because they see. And that's another thing, going back to another point when it comes to presentation, etiquette. We have to look like where we want to go. My wife has harped this for years. We have to look like our brand. And so our brand creates more clientele. Now, we don't do as much church stuff as we used to, but we still do it. But because we're branding out, now we're going to get clients that are outside of the church world because now our brand looks different. It looks better. It's cleaner. Lines are more precise. And that's just how you go about it in that moment.
So I work with so many genres of people. So I'm not only in the church per se. When it comes to graphics, a lot of church people do use my services. However, I'm a lot of women, a lot of young women, young ladies use my services. So I know my targeted audience. So they know my work. So I always give them a preview. They go to my website, you can go to my Instagrams, you can go to my Facebook, you can go everywhere to find and see if you actually want to work with me. Now, I get my name mentioned on social media maybe about 50 times a day, from all types of people. And sometimes I'm not going to say you have to vet the client to see if they are for you so that you won't be in the end, in the tail end losing, because some people can be crazy, get on social media, say crazy stuff about you. So you have to be careful of who you invite into that workspace and kind of vet them. So I require my clients to give me a detailed example of what they're looking for. Now, if they don't provide it and they want me to, I call it my creative genius. If you want me to use my creative genius, we got 3 tries. But I'm just going to be honest. I work with my clients until they love it. And I try my best to fulfill what they're looking for. And 9 times out of 10, we get it. Sometimes the client just isn't pleased. Am I going to lose a deposit after I've worked with you? No, I'm not going to lose my deposit. I'm going to keep my deposit, but you don't have any other remaining balances. But I keep those, like Tavell said, Minister, I call him Elder Tavell said, I keep contracts and things of that nature in place so that in the tail end, I won't lose out. And you want to make sure that all of your paperwork, your necessary documents for your business is in place, because if you don't have that stuff aligned, people will try to get you out of your money or try to sidetrack you or try to throw you off, and you know what was in place or what happened, what you guys discussed and things of that nature. So it's best to have your paperwork in place so you won't be slighted by any means necessary.
We have a question in the comments, a viewer question, and I want to direct this to Mama Cox, and then we'll be moving expeditiously because we still have quite a bit to go. And Paula Cole asks, how do you assist a person who could be rejecting your designs because they are trying to be a clone of someone else? How can you pull out of them the vision they have and mentally shift them out of trying to duplicate someone else's look?
Ooh. Mama Cox, I've had this happen on several occasions, especially with top evangelists and pastors out here. And I would literally text them and say, such and such sent your flyer to me and you referred them, but they want their stuff to look like yours. And I'm like, I just got to be honest with them to tell them, You have to get your own branding concepts, your own vision to where you're going, because at the end of the day, your audience is your audience. They don't want you to look like such and such over here. They don't want you to look like they don't want you to look like the apple or the orange or the McDonald's over here. They want you to be your authentic self. When
Yep.
when you are your authentic self, when you are your authentic self, that's when things begin to happen for you. And even for myself, so many people say, I want my stuff to look. No, sis, you cannot have your stuff to look like this person's. You may like their work, but listen, let me create you something that's going to be smacking for your vision. Let me create something that's going to light up the light for your audience, for who you're trying to reach. So I try my best to sway them into a different way. Some be like, no, I want it to look like. And then when I have those instances and cases, I'm like, well, I may not be the designer for you, but listen, let me refer you to X, Y, and Z. And I do that a lot. I do. So I don't have a headache. I'm just going to be honest.
A lot of times when I get these type of clients, first of all, I try to tell them, if you don't have the exact same components that that person had, it's still not going to look exactly like what you're asking for. Like, seriously, your picture has to be the same. You cannot come to me with a TD Jakes flyer and a selfie in the car. It's not happening. I will not be able to use your selfie, sir and madam, on a conference flyer. It's not going to happen. So I do try to tell them that up front. And so since lately, I've gotten really great at creating some really fancy emails that basically say, no ma'am, no ham, no turkey. So, I mean, if you're going to come to me, you're going to come to me because this is my space. You need to trust that I know what I'm doing. Give me creative freedom to get it done. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry, you are not getting that money back, because we've done already put in the work. We done already put in sometimes hours of work. Like, you can't get that time back. So you can't get that money back.
Mother ain't lying though.
Listen, Mother Cox is the one. I'm trying to tell you.
That's real talk. That's real talk.
Oh, but let me add this one thing. I have had some very great clients who have, because in the beginning, it's really confusing when they send you a flyer and say, I want it to look like this, because you don't know exactly what it is that's catching their attention. So without me asking some proper questions to figure out what it is that you want, I won't be able to get it. But I have had some really great clients to stick with me and be patient and say, maybe move this to the left or move this up, change this to blue. Because when you first get the client, you have to know their style. It takes 1 or 2 projects at least to get that particular person's style. But we do have to realize that you can't just pick a flyer and say, I want it like this. If you don't have the exact same components that that person had to create that flyer, you won't be able to get it like that. But my email will be nice.
Hopefully it's nicer. Hopefully it's nicer.
Add something to it.
Go ahead, please.
It's so important for us to have integrity, right? And so when we're creating something, when someone comes to us and say they want it to look like something else, let that be your inspiration, but let's not duplicate somebody else's work as well. And so in having that integrity, and then also looking on the other side of it as well, is some things could be copywritten, some things can be trademarked. And so it's so important to take that into consideration, saying, I cannot duplicate this work. And we put out a disclaimer with contracts and with any forms that we send out and say, we can use this inspiration, but we will not duplicate it, because we're not, there's not going to be thievery over here. There's not going to be, lawyers or anybody knocking at our doors and saying, this is material that you've stolen or things that you've duplicated and you're using it, this concept, as your own idea, right? They're not going to come after the person that wanted it. They're going to come after the designer. And so it's so important having that integrity and saying, okay, well, if this is something that you're looking for, I'm not going to duplicate it. If you want to duplicate it, you're going to have to go to someone else, just like, what's her name? Letitia, I'm sorry, said. But it's so important just having that integrity and also letting them know that too. So
I think so. Wrapping that up, I will say this: as a designer, try to figure out what concepts about that particular design they're into. Because as Mother Cox says so well, is the fact that if you don't have everything they have, like based on a flyer, if the flyer is shaped around a man with a strong build and his arms up, if you come in with your picture like this, what am I supposed to do with that? It's a whole different story. my bad, Apostle, my bad. No, but it's a whole different build. The picture that you're giving me requires a whole different storyline. And so maybe now if I know, oh, you like the circles in there, you like the lines in there, so now I know what accents you like, I know what fonts you like, I know what look you like. And so I'm not giving you a reproduction of this flyer. I'm giving you the ideas that you like, which is completely okay. Know what you like when you see it. Don't tell me that you just like the whole thing. We're going to move a little bit further in our program tonight. How do I grow my clientele? I started, this is, I don't know if I want to go here or not. I think I'll go there. This is the entitled generation. I've been making flyers for the last week. I've done 7 designs a day, and I have 2 clients. Why am I not blowing up like Mark and Brett? That's this generation. And so while we're looking at that, that's the realness of our mindsets. How do what is the advice for that? How do I grow my clientele? How do I build my base? What does that look like? Is it process? Am I supposed to be strategic? Is it about what I'm posting? Is it about what time I'm posting? What goes into building out from going from 2 people to 10 to 20 to 100 and virtually maybe even staffing folks under my brand?
One of the things I would say is, so every time my business went to another level, it was after I sold time and graphics into people for almost little to nothing, if not free. And although it seems like it's more of a hassle and it's more work, when you start to sow, what it tells God is that it's not the money is not the main thing for me. And once the motive gets right, the sky's the limit. But beyond the sowing part, you have to know, first of all, you have to know your limits. The truth is, you may never go national. You may never, work for, broadcasting companies and, Fortune 500 companies. You may never get there. So realizing your capacity will help you to stop being so disappointed, because your disappointment comes from your unrealistic expectations of your capacity. And so if you understand your capacity, you know how far you can go, then you'll realize I can do this, I can do that. But as far as expanding it, when you know you can go far, one of the major things is just, I believe someone had said it earlier, just being integral, because your reputation will follow you. And making sure that you stay on top of who you are and stay on top of what you do, and always be willing to communicate what you're doing, how you're growing, and the accomplishments you have. Never let that drawback type of mindset, hey, this is just something I'm doing. No, if you have something great you've done, put it out there, and just be willing to accept what you are, and all those marketing factors come into play, doing this at a certain time, certain day, whatever. But it's just making sure that you stay true to what you are, keep a good name, keep a good reputation, and be consistent. What people hate is inconsistency. If you're not consistent and you're like one person, oh, he was good, and the other person said, they weren't good. And of course, everybody have their opinion, but the proof is in the pay. And we know how consistent you are based on what's coming in and out of your pocket.
I'll give you. I want to spell out some quick strategies, and which I use to kind of grow and scale my business. So I started my business 2016. So in 2016, I said I'm going to start my business and put this logo out here and see how it goes. That year I made $4,000 in my business because people like, oh, her name. I was like, oh, I made a lot of money, y'all. I was excited. However, I was like, it's something that I'm not doing right. Like, how can I grow? How can I be better? So first thing first is when you put anything out there in terms of a logo, um, your self image or anything out there, it must be clean. So one of my three models of within my business is clean, consistent, and cohesive. When you have those three things locked down, um, it kind of catapults you to where you need to be. So first I had to get some professional photos done of myself. I had to put myself out there a little bit more. I had to express myself. The peak hours to post on social media, you have to understand that when it comes to marketing and branding. The peak hours, you got as soon as people wake up between 6, 7, 8 in the morning, those are the peak hours to post. And then you go back late in that evening. Then you post about 8 o'clock. Um, you post about 8 o'clock that day. That's when the majority of the world is tuned in to social media. So those are some of the other strategies I use. Storytelling opens up the door for you because people want you to be relatable. They want to be able to identify with you and to identify with your brand. Why do I want to work with Latricia London? Why do I want to work with London Graphics? Why would I want to work with her? So they want to be able to connect with you in a way that they'll be like, oh, okay, I'll give her my money because she's dope. Oh, she likes fashion. She loves to dress because y'all, I post a lot of pretty pictures because I love to dress. I love to dress. That's what I love to do. But then also on the flip side, there is something that a lot of us don't use. And I tell people this, the reason why I have been able to master and to reach people in multiple states across the US is because the power of the hashtag. When you use hashtags properly, when you hashtag logos in Atlanta, logos Houston, logos however you decide to use it, you create you a list of about 30 hashtags. You can't use them all at the same time, but you can use them in a way that is strategic so that people will be able to connect with you. People often inbox me on Instagram and say, oh, I found you using Atlanta logos. Are you in Atlanta? I said, no, but I work with people all over the US. I can connect with you and work with you, and they're willing to do it. So it's all about being strategic. And also how you post on your personal, I didn't get to post on your personal Instagram. You have to also kind of mimic it so that you're not all over the place. So most people know I'm a preacher. Most people know that I like to dance and I like to have fun. I like to laugh. So I try to be consistent even on my personal Instagrams to make sure people are relatable to me. Because when your clients are able to connect with you, you won't be able to add everybody as your friend on Facebook or everybody as your friend. Well, everybody can be your friend on Instagram, but you won't be able to add everybody as your friend. But people still want to be able to connect with you. So storytelling about your business is one of the key things that I have been able to do to grow and scale my business. Good captions too. Just don't post a flyer and say flyers, but post the caption, tag your client in it, so they'll be able to share it. And then those people can connect with, more people connect with you based off that too. So those are just some of the few tips I can give for free out there. Mm-hmm.
I would like to add, just be professional
Yeah.
in what you're doing. Be professional in how you are interacting with the client, how you are handling business with them, how you handle yourself on social media has been said, even how you handle yourself in public. I believe that your professionalism will translate into their trustworthy. And that's exactly what a client is looking for, someone that they can trust, someone who's actually going to take it and go somewhere with it and move forward. And so if you come forth with professionalism, not trying to be so buddy buddy just because you know the person, but even in your email greetings, how are you, something of that nature, so that they understand your tone and your approach and what you're doing. And I think it will end up being an effect where others will come. One of the things that I do, I also ask them to refer me to others. So if you know someone who is in need of graphics, if you know someone who is in need of the same work that I provided for you, let them know. And in return, I've gained more clients because of me telling someone else to say, hey, let them know what I do. And that's another way that I think you can grow your business.
Well, for me, with my transition, for me was because all when I started, first of all of my graphics were church. Actually, my grandfather gave me my first chance at a jurisdictional convocation. But I noticed that what I post is what I attract. So every time I post all of my church stuff, all I got was church clients. And I was like, well, I want other clients too. So I stopped posting church all the time, because at first I was posting because, of course, I want more clients. So I'm like, if I post more, I'll get more clients. But I kept getting just all church clients, and I wanted, to experience the other stuff as well. So what I did was I did change what I was posting. And if I didn't have anything to post, I created something. Like I made it, like I would act like I'm a furniture company, and I would make a logo for that furniture company, do the whole complete branding for some made up furniture company, and posted it. Because I wanted to get other clients, not just in the church world. And also presentation. What's really helped me is how I post it. When I send my clients their final project, it's just the flat canvas of the project. But when I repost that project, I include a mock-up. I tag the client in it, in the mock-up, I'm showing them ways that they can use what I've given them. Because a lot of times when we create it, they don't even know how to use it. So I try to use those mock-ups to teach them, look, you can do this with this, you can do this with that, so and it's clean, good, clean, not cluttered graphics. Because if you have a logo that's not good and clean, when you go to transfer it to a billboard or a t-shirt or a hat, you're going to come right back to us and be like, hey, Latricia, I'm not able to use this logo. It's because we tried to tell you in the beginning, sir, you can't have that like that. So it's all about the presentation. I do agree with the tagging of the clients, because once you tag the client, then all of their friends see that you've tagged them, and then they're so excited that you've tagged them, they reshare it, and then they post it on their other social media. And it's also a good thing to tell the client, hey, when you post this, tag me in it. I don't think that's a bad thing to do. Or, leave a comment. Go on my page and leave a comment, or leave a testimonial or something. Those help out too. Because another tip is, in the church world, there are also business owners who are looking for somebody to help them with their brand. So when I switched over into the secular world, real estate, packaging, cosmetics, it was from the church world that they were like, oh, I thought you only did church graphics. That's why I started posting and making up different projects, even if I didn't have it, making up stuff, creating a logo, posting it tagging other people in it. Hashtags, you know, when I did the real estate one, hashtag real estate, hashtag, you know, Louisville, hashtag, you know, use your hashtag. So that was a good tip as well.
What she just said is so key. This next question, we're gonna go straight to Mark and Britt, but what she just said is so key. The one thing you want to evade, especially if you say, I do a lot of church stuff, but I want to move out. The one thing you want to evade is allowing your brand to box you in. If you want to get away from anything else, you want to get away from the stigma of he or she only does this. You want to get away from that. Just as she just said, sometimes you could just put stuff out. Maybe I had some, unlike everybody on, I believe, I was doing things sports wise, business wise before I only started doing church content last year, while the church folks been knowing me for forever, right? And so while they've been knowing me, I was never, you know, oh, he just does sports, he just does business, he just does that, he doesn't do church content. And so it took me doing church content for free because I wanted to make sure that was part of my arsenal. It took me just being like, here, you can have this graphic. It's like, oh, what? All right, bet, cool. Here, you can have this website. Here, I'll do this commercial with you. And one thing leads to another. And boom, here I am hosting a Kingdom Creatives podcast, right? And so it is that simple, but just remember, it takes time. Do not be boxed in. Spread your wings. Do things. Sometimes you got to sit there and do it for free, but that's why it's a gift, right? You received it, and you are going to have to give it sometimes. Some of my, just like people said, sometimes my biggest increases have come after I just put a design out. Whether it be to a person, whether it just be, one of my biggest increases was I did a video graphic. And because we already mentioned his church, I'll mention his name. I try to stay away from names, for Bishop Brandon Jacobs. He preached a sermon, and I think we all love his ministry. So he preached a sermon, and something was like, I was like, yeah, he wilding on this one. So I decided to make a graphic out of it just to do it. It blows up. And right now, one of my highest paying clients reached out to me because of that graphic. We don't do no graphic work at all, but we do a lot of videography because he saw that piece. And so do not restrain yourself. The only time you work does not need to be when you're getting paid. Whoa. The only time you invest in your craft should not be when there's an exchange. Invest in yourself, put it out there, challenge yourself, put it out there. It's going to bring back something. Okay. We're moving to, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Before you move on, you just said something powerful. The only time you should not be working is when you're working. And I think that's so pivotal. Like, as a graphic designer, if you know you haven't been to school, take courses. Get in somebody, because somebody's always having some type of graphic design course, and you have to be willing to say what you don't know, because every graphic designer is not a marketing strategist. I know that because I'm not one of them. I'm not good with all that marketing stuff. So what I do is I connected with someone who has a whole marketing firm and say, hey, if I give you a certain amount of my clients, we can collaborate. And what I don't know will come together. But I think there's a pressure. Most clients come to graphic designers and expect them to know about marketing. And now they have this pressure. Now you're giving out this false information because you don't know what the times are. You listen, and because you just have to be honest and say, hey, that's not my field. I'm more in the content creation. Everything else I can direct you to someone. But we have to be willing to say, hey, I can't do that. I don't know that, or I'm not there yet and I'm still building. But we have to be willing to learn, do something. Because if you're not trying to better yourself, further yourself, you're just going to plateau.
Agree. I'm going to the Mark and Britt. We're missing the apostle at this. Oh, in such a timely fact. I told y'all it's on his life. I told you the oil is very apparent. We're going into the line between ministry and business. Sometimes Do you know who you're working with? I sure do. Do you know what my prices are? There's got to be a line. And that's what I want to talk about now. How do you, and I think it's been said a lot tonight. The spirit kind of leads you. You know, you get some guidance, you get a tug, you get a pull, whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, there's got to be some kind of exchange. So that's where I want to go now. And I'm starting with the apostle and his first lady.
Well, the funny thing is that we used to be the hobbyist. And I say that openly because I think a lot of times we didn't really understand what we had. And so pricing, and I want to make sure I heard your question right. When it comes down to pricing, I realized because we were starting to get clients that were getting unusual, really high pricing, we started realizing that we were cutting ourselves out. And because we wanted to be, we weren't used to the clientele of someone who would pay $1,000 for a website. We weren't used to the clientele of someone would pay $2,000 for a book. And so we had to go back and really shut everything down. The first time that we did it, we were too low. And some clients that we had didn't want to deal with us because they thought we were undercutting ourselves. And they didn't deal with us. But when we start valuing what we were doing, then our price points were going a little bit higher because now we understand the quality of work that we produce. So I think when you deal with pricing, you have to know, first of all, who is coming to you. Not everybody you will know. Not everybody you will understand in the beginning. But I think after a good moment and you really working with that person, a lot of the people that we've had when it comes to customer acquisition, a lot of people that we've had come back is because their first level experience was to the excellence that we have as a standard. And so a lot of people come back to us because our pricing is not competitive. And the reason why I say it's not competitive is because I think a lot of times we want to compete with other people in the arena that we're in. But what I'm starting to find out is that you can't compete, you have to grow together. There has to be a level of community that comes together in pricing wise, because I may not be able to do something that others are able to do. So why would I try to compete with you when we're talking about kingdom? Why would I compete with you when I may need you down the road for a client that I may be able to do one thing for them, but you may have something video wise that you can do for them? And I think that's where we have to really understand how to build a network of community so that our pricing can be competitive as a group and not so much as a individual company or individual brander or something like that. We have to really become selfless in this. And a lot of times, me and my wife, sometimes we have to go outside of us because we don't understand how to do what they're asking for. And so now I'm starting to realize that build relationship so that you can understand where to actually place. What am I? Here's my, and I asked that question because a lot of times we don't know what to do in certain areas. And so we have to get around people and say, well, listen, this one person came and said, that's how much y'all charge? And we said, yes. And they said, I was expecting you to knock me in my head. Well, why would you expect that when at the end of the day, I'm trying to build you as a customer? And then once I get you as a customer and you're fine and solidified, now I'm going to now have you as a person that we now you always come back to us because now we have an established relationship. And once that relationship is established, then after that, we can now negotiate for you to now have us as a retainer. And that's where we're at now, is that most of our clients now are getting ready to go into the process of retainer, because now I won't have to do, you may not say nothing to me for a month, but in that month, I'm still going to get paid from you, because now we are retained by you. And I think that's what we have to really think about going in this next phase, is that we're not going to go from client to client to client to client and just wait for somebody to come. But now, how can I manage what you now got from us? And that's where we had to really understand where we were at when it came to pricing. I hope that helped.
No, that's good. That's good. I'm gonna open this question up to the entire floor, and that is, we always have those walls, whether it be in business, whether it be in our growth process, whether it be sometimes in our inspiration. How do I stay inspired? How do I grow? How do I continue? This thing is a marathon, and I promise you, the word entrepreneur, it's very sexy. It is. It sounds really good. It does. But the truth of the matter is, when you clock out at 5, I'm still working. And sometimes when you wake up at 5, I may still be working. Not every night, but there are some times where every now and again, there is a workload that's very different than the person that clocks in and clocks out. We are not separating ourselves from anybody else. This is just what the facts are. Sometimes you are putting in a lot of time into this crap. It can burn you out. In those events, what do I do? How do I get back? How do I recharge? How do I come back stronger from those walls that I have to go up against? This is open to everybody.
Well, you got to know when you need a break. Like, first of all, I keep my schedule, up to date, on a calendar, so that I can know what's coming up, what's due, who's it for, so that when I need a break and I need to recharge, I can set on my website that I'm unavailable on these dates. So when you go to my website and you click on the calendar, if you need your project in 3 days, you'll see that I'm unavailable. So it's really, but then this time that we're in now, I know for me, it is so stressful, because now I have my son who's going to school virtually. My husband also works from home. Then I'm trying to do my business at home. I just let go of my office because I haven't been there since February. So I thought it would be a great idea, to come home and work. But so it's really hard to put up those walls there. It's kind of hard to do it because, in the mornings, and I'll just tell you my routine in the morning. Wake up, get my son up, breakfast, school. While I'm doing all of that, I'm trying to work on emails. What's in my queue? What do I need to have designed? What revisions do I have? So it's really hard to separate right now, until we find our new normal. It's really hard to have that separation. But I do know when I need a break. And when I need a break, I'm really good with letting my client know I'm not going to be available from this time to this time. Just be upfront and honest. Don't just go and take your break and don't tell them, because then your phone's going to blow up while you on vacation. And that's another thing. You have to keep your personal phone and your business phone separate. You need to have your personal calendar and your business calendar separate. Now on my phone, it's together so that I can know what's coming up. But I'm real quick to, if somebody at church call me on my business line, I will answer and say, let me call you right back. And I'm gonna call you on my personal phone. It's just a good habit to do, to not mix your personal life with your business life, especially at this time where it's so hard to not mingle the both of them. So when it's time for your break, if you already have that separation, it's easier for you to go on break free. Set up you a email in Gmail so that when someone emails you, it automatically shoots them, hey, thanks for reaching out. Unfortunately, I'm unavailable from this time to this time. However, I'll shoot you back an email. Or if you want your project after this date, go ahead and submit your information for it, and we can get it to you after this date.
If I can add to that, I'll be honest. I still work a 9 to 5 while I'm doing this. And it's a blessing because I do work for a politician in my area, so he has an understanding of all of what I do outside of the job. So along with that, I am a youth pastor at my church, heavily involved helping my dad, who's my pastor, doing, you name it, I'm doing it at my church. So I'm very big though on making time for yourself. Um, and I just think it's important that self-care, getting that release, whether it means you working out, if you need to sit down and watch a movie on Netflix, whatever the case may be, you need to read a book, you just need some peace and quiet, you need to go on a walk, a run. I think you should make that time and be strategic with it. So as she mentioned, she has a schedule for all of her projects. Put what you're going to do outside of work to just, get yourself together, put that a part of the schedule. That way, it's almost like it's mandatory that I have to do this because it's a part of my schedule. That on Saturday from 1 to 3, I'm doing such and such to ensure that I'm together so that you can go back out and fulfill your assignment. Because what will happen is you are overwhelmed and you're overworked and you're overrun and you can't complete the project because now you're just too tired. And you can't do it to the best of your abilities because you didn't allow yourself to release. You didn't allow yourself to just have a time to just wind down. And now you just let things get to you and you can't do it to the best of your ability. And it will show at some point. It will show in your work that you didn't get the rest that you needed. So I would say just put it in your schedule that time so that you can get the rest you need.
If I can add to that, since we are kingdom creatives and we're so heavily involved in church, it's important to know that ministry, it drains you physically, and also designing, it can drain you physically. Even though people think that we're just sitting in our chair, twiddling our fingers, it drains you. So I try not to put a project due on Sunday night, because after I done had my time with the Lord, ain't nobody's project going out on Sunday night. And also Monday mornings are kind of tough too, because you're trying to recuperate from the weekend. And since we also work in church, weekends are our time, most of the time, for church things. Like when we were going to church for rehearsal, all of my rehearsals were Saturday mornings. Then I had to come home and get prepared for church on Sunday, because while I'm sitting on the keyboard directing the choir and singing, I also have my iPad set up to control the screens. So all of that is happening on the weekends. And so you have to take time for yourself. You have to know when you need to recuperate, because you don't want to take that out on your client. Like if the client email you or call you and say, hey, my project was supposed to be done, and you just flip the script, no, that can't happen. There goes your customer service, and then that person's going to tell 10 other people. There goes your integrity with them. So you just have to know when to do that.
And you have to know when the source of your frustration is not coming from a lack of rest. It may be coming from something in your business that is stressing you out that you need to reassess. Like when your business is in a shifting moment, when you got so many clients, the stress is a good stress. You got to know how to manage it and what to fix to handle that. Like Elder Grant, I work 8 to 5 job. Luckily, I work for Fast Signs, and I create graphics all day and do production things like that. and my boss is aware of what I do. But that doesn't mean that I don't have things to do. So by the time I get home, I have things to do. And I'm a pastor. I'm assistant pastor at my church. I'm in school, and so I have so many things I have to juggle, and I have to make sure that my workload is compatible to what I have. But I had to get me a whole software for my work. I couldn't just keep it in check my email. I couldn't do that anymore because I had too much going on. I had way too much going on from being at the church, having this going on, having to preach here, and there, and all that different stuff. And the stress is a good stress. It's a good problem to have when you have a lot of clients. But you have to know how to categorize it and then understand your relationship with each client. Some clients I've had since I was on Pixar. So they know me. They know what my weekly schedule is. They know what I'm doing, and they have certain expectations. And now our relationship is like clockwork. And I send work like water, and it'll come back. Other clients, I know how they are. I know what their expectation is, and so I have, I highlight that project. I put a high level frequency. Hey, this needs to be done. But you have to know when the stress is not I'm just tired. It's I'm a growing stress. And if you don't know how to manage that, you'll misinterpret that I'm tired for I'm growing. And it's two different things. And when you should be trying to move forward and expand, you'll cut down because you think you're tired. No, you're not tired. You're growing. Instead of allowing that frustration to shrink you, let that frustration grow you.
That was good. For me to balance everything out. So typically, you guys, on a Monday, I'm sleep right now. I've read from 9 to 9:30, and I'm sleeping. I'm back up at 5 a.m. preparing for my day, preparing my graphics, preparing my layout. So you have to make sure. I had to learn this the hard way. Burnout is not good. You accepting so much, do you like, man, I don't want to do this no more. This is too much. Too many people calling me. All my text messages going off, emails going off. Even right now, my phone is on do not disturb because I don't want to keep on talking to people after a certain time, and people will keep on calling, keep on inboxing, all that all day. So I had to kind of find balance in that, put my time schedule out there, put my everything is aligned on my Facebook, on my website, all my times I'm going to talk to you, and the times I'm not going to talk to you, my off days, my off schedules, just so that I can make sure that I have work-life balance. Because if you don't have work-life balance, you're really going to drain yourself. Now, do I go hard for my clients all day? Sometimes people like, you up at 4? I'll be on Snapchat at 3 and 4 in the morning. They be like, you up? I say, yeah, because I got a vision from God. And if I get a vision from God, I get up and do it immediately so that I can make sure that, and as soon as the client wake up, I love it. I be like, yes, God, thank you for coming through. I can go ahead and close out this project. But you got to make sure that you get some rest. Like October, I'm out of here. I know it's a coronavirus, but I got to go because I'm tired. I've been working hard this whole pandemic. I'm like, I got to see y'all later. I need a week because I ain't been nowhere. I just been working. I do a lot for our church. I'm also the videographer. I'm the camera woman. I'm the stream person. I'm the person who announced in the church. So, hey, welcome to First Paradise. I'm all that. I don't know if y'all go to our lives and go watch it, y'all to be like, how's she doing all this? But that's me. I'm kind of controlling all the functions, but to God be the glory that He has gifted me. But you definitely got to find balance in it all.
Well, it has been a night. That is going to wrap us up right there. I want everybody to give their best one-liner advice to the person that's getting into this, trying to grow, trying to find their footing. I believe even though there are quite a few creatives out there and graphic designers, this, that, and the third, there has been an emergence of them during this pandemic. Because the truth of the matter is, each one of us on this screen, maybe we're not to full capacity, but Doc, we've been working. We have been working, and a lot of leaders, I commend leaders in this season because they have seen certain people in their church and under them or whatever the case may be, and they have propelled certain people to emerge in media ministry during this pandemic. So there are a lot of people that were just working 9 to 5s that are all of a sudden in media ministry because their leader felt like they could step up to the task. So now they're attaching cables and trying to figure out how to work the sound booth and trying to figure out how to work the cameras. They're on Photoshop all night trying to make a design for the next sermon. And so to those people and to others that are just trying to figure out, I want to go to doing this full time. What say ye in about 1 sentence to 2? I know we got straight preachers on here. So in the quickest manner possible, what advice can you give that person? In no particular order.
I would just say be serious about it, and be committed to it. And so if this is something that you see yourself doing for some time and, full time, you really want to do it, invest in it. If you need to make some purchases, do that. But whatever the case is, I definitely say, put some time into it, because oftentimes we just jump up and do things. My generation were some hot pocket people. We just like things to happen, and we haven't made any type of investment in it. And so if you really want to do this, put some time into it, be serious about it, be committed, have a plan, and run with the vision.
I would say be patient and don't compare your journey to somebody else's, because you don't know what it took for them to get to where they're at. So you may not be able to handle what they went through in their journey. You have to go through your own journey. So that's what I would just say. Be patient, trust the process. It's not a microwavable journey. You can't just pop it in the microwave and set it for 30 seconds and it's hot and fresh. Get you some inspiration, some education, learn, connect, network, and just be patient.
Study, 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 study. Study, 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 study. Study trends, study YouTube, study your competitors. I don't like to call them competitors, but study everybody. Study this, study your craft, especially if you're doing graphics, if you're doing flyers. I just recently, as of last year, learned how to do a video flyer. And I was like, oh, I'm kind of dope. I can do a video flyer now. I'm starting making stuff go up. And some of my graphic artist friends like, how you do that? Well, I do it in such and such. I said, oh, I do mine in Final Cut. They was like, how you doing in Final Cut? I was like, you know what? I just started putting some stuff together and figured it out. I studied it, okay? Because I wanted to be like the other graphic artists who's doing these video flyers. I was like, hey, let me see if I can go try this. So you just study, so that the more, I'm not going to say you have to offer everything, because I offer printing services too. I offer printing services too because I have different connections when it comes to printing. But you just study, and it grows you when you study. Because when I see my graphics from 2016 to now, woo, it looks totally different.
I would simply say grow through the cracks and learn through the L's. Because you're not going to be perfect. Your designs are not going to be perfect. Your customer service experience is not going to be perfect. There'll be times where you don't have any schedule. And if you feel like you should just shoot up out of the ground the day after you're planning, then that's an unrealistic expectation. You're going to have to grow through the cracks. You're going to have to grow through the soil. You can't allow the dirt to suffocate you. If you use the dirt for its rightful purpose, it'll grow you. But you cannot allow the cracks of the business to stop you. Michelle said earlier, do not compare yourself to anybody or what anybody else is doing. You got to know your path, and you've got to know that every opportunity is a learning opportunity. If you're not learning, you're not growing. I think that the amount of education that you put into your business is going to be directly connected to the amount of money that comes into your pocket. If you're not willing to invest into it, then you're not willing to get paid for it. And if you're not willing to make an investment right now, make the decision. This is not a business; it's just a hobby for me. And being honest with yourself about what you know you can and cannot do is going to protect you, not just from different things. It's going to protect you from running into some crazy people, because some people don't play about their stuff, and you playing around thinking this is a game. You have to be very careful. People will blast you, and they'll make you look bad, and you could have protected yourself by being honest. So grow through the cracks and learn through the L's and just perfect yourself.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I would say become a student of your work. And the reason why I say that is because you have to know and you have to like what you do. If you don't like what you do, then no one else is going to like what you do. And so you have to become a student of your work. You have to become a student of the craft, and really learn that you're not going to be perfect in the beginning. But as you build and develop the craft will begin to yield more to you because you've studied it properly. And so that's all I'll say on that.
And pretty much what you say, like being a student of your work, always trying to learn and to sharpen your craft as well. And then also having that vision in place as far as where you want to go and having that plan, kind of like what Elder Grant said, as far as, or also Michelle as well, as far as just expecting things to be immediate, but having a plan in place and saying, okay, this is where I desire to be. And then just starting, pretty much having the plan and then starting, because a lot of times we get discouraged by comparison, right? And so when we look at someone else and where they are, we're like, well, this is where I aspire to be, but use that as inspiration rather than using it to pretty much deteriorate your vision for what you have for yourself and where you're trying to go. But definitely having a plan, starting, investing in yourself, and getting the training that's necessary as well. So
that's good. Listen, we're up to the end of this thing. I'm going to add one just because I really hope this will help somebody. As you're putting out content, as you're asking questions, notice who keeps on checking on you. Notice every time you put something out and you've got a question, notice who keeps on answering your question every time. And this is what I want you to do. When you identify that one or two persons, actually go after them from a mentorship standpoint. You should never go through all the same wrongs I have if we're connected. If we're connected and you have a problem and I failed there and I found success, my success should now be your success because we're connected. So find yourself connecting with people that you've seen proven that care about you, even through social media. Every time you post a question, they're one of the first 3 people giving you a detailed answer, sending you where to go. Reach out to those people. Do not let your pride get ahead of your progress. Do not let your pride get ahead of your progress. Reach out. If they keep on hitting you up, reach out. And I promise you, it's probably going to be favorable. Reach out. We are done. We are done. We have got through the night. If somebody said earlier, it felt like revival. And it really did. I want to leave this last moment. I really want everybody to get, how do I contact you? How do I get your service? Where are you on social media, website, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. In another post tomorrow, I'll be putting out all of your information. But even in this moment, if I want to get service from you tonight, well, not tonight because we're all about to go to sleep, but well, some of us might. we got to implement that rest we were just talking about. But if I want your services, how do I reach you? We'll go clockwise again, so around the world.
You can reach me at my business is Lunden Graphics and Photography. On Facebook, that's LOONDON GRAPHIZ. Like Looney Tunes. You remember me by Looney Tunes? It's not my last name. Everybody thinks it's my last name. It's like Looney Tunes. On Facebook, on Instagram, it's London Graphics and London Photography. And then my website is www.londondesignsphoto.com. I build brands for you. I print for you. Anything that you may need, I can take care of you. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Elijah, for having me. And I love y'all. This was good. I needed it. Y'all helped me too. Miss Cox and the Creative Studio and Keenan. Thank y'all. And Elijah, y'all helped me today. Okay.
So my website is www.bewmade.com. That stands for Be Wonderfully Made. My Facebook is Wonderfully Made LLC. On Instagram, it's Be_Wonderfully Made. So if you just type in Wonderfully Made or Be Wonderfully Made, I'll pop up. All of my services are on my website. If you would like to send a project request, all of it is on my website. It's all automated. So if you send it tonight, you will get a response tonight, but it won't be from me personally. It will be automated. So I really enjoyed this. This is my first time in on here. Thank you guys. And I hope to network with you guys soon.
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. I have definitely been blessed and gained some knowledge from you all. So this has been a great conversation for me. You can find me on all social media with my name, Tavell Grant, or my Facebook page, Access Granted LLC, or you can email me at agrantedllc@gmail.com or online at www.accessgrantedmedia.com. And as many of these on here do, I do graphic design from flyers. I do video work. One of the things that I've been blessed to do is help with recording for churches who are in need of media services as it pertains to their live stream. So if you need video work completed, if you need help with your streaming, some consultation as it pertains to that, I'll be glad to help you. If you have OBS or you're using other different platforms, if you have phones and you're using Switcher Studio, I can even help with that, whatever the case may be. But thank you again.
So I, just to forth what everybody has said, I appreciate the opportunity. Elder Sumo has given so many people opportunities to share on so many platforms, so I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You can find me on Facebook at Keenan Peebles and IG at Keenan Peebles _. My name is spelled out Keenan Peebles, Peebles. You can email me at Keenan, Keenan, at Elohim. Elohim, another word for God, ELOHIM graphics, GRAPHICS.com, or you can visit www.elohimgraphics.com, and you'll see examples of my work there, and you'll be also be able to book book me, or for any other project requests, you can do that on the site, or any merchandise that I have, which I do have, and you can find it on my site there as well. In this particular time, I'm really focusing on helping churches get through this pandemic, and that's not just with flyers and everything like that, but also in any type of media that you have in your church, and not just churches, but small businesses as well that need to get off the ground. So many people have started businesses in this pandemic, and you need to make sure that you're not relying on faulty sources and faulty platforms and Canva and all different types of stuff to get your work done. You need your own work that you own, and you need someone that is trustworthy to do that. All right. And so that's what I do. So hopefully we can connect in the future. Love you all and appreciate this opportunity.
So we are so grateful for this opportunity. So we just want to say thank you so much for even just allowing us to share and to also get that insight as well. So for us, we are accessible on Facebook, which is pretty much Mark Brick Creative Studio. On Instagram, we are at Mark Brick Creative, and our website is markbrickcreative.com. Our services are pretty much flyers, logos, just websites,
Books.
books. We also do book publishing as well, and we have packages for that as well. We also have packages for starting entrepreneurs that want and need a package for getting their business off the ground and all of that as well. So that is where we can be found. So, thank you so much.
First of all, thank you all so much for saying yes and coming on. We took a major chunk of the rest day. As you've heard, all of us, if not most of us, are heavily involved in ministry and in our local church. Monday is our Saturday. And so for you guys to give up a little bit of your Saturday today, I really appreciate it. I do want to address a few things before we go. We asked Mark and Brett, and this is not to pick on nobody. This just for the person that wants to brand this thing right. They give their social tag, their web address, everything was Mark and Brett. That's what you want. I want you to type in one thing and find me everywhere. All right. So if you're branding, if you're starting off, have something universal. Even if you got to add in a number, make sure you have something that if you search this one thing, you're going to find me. And last thing, be a resource. Be a resource. Cut this competitive spirit out. We're not going to get any further with it. Leave it alone. Leave it where you found it. And I promise you it's in hell. Leave it there. We're going to have to be resources for each other, because all you want is your name in the room. I promise you, at the end of the day, if you do this right, if you keep your name clean, if you keep God first, I assure you, when he puts your name in the room and your time comes, you're going to be all right. I promise you. And that is every single person on this screen will attest to that. You want to make sure that your name is worthy so that they bring it up. All you need is your name brought up one time and your life will change forever. All right. This has been good. This has been amazing. Thank you guys for joining. You've shared, you've commented, you've liked. We appreciate you. Have a good night and a great rest of the week.